So now that we made a siyum, and we've all the divrei Torah, the question is what now? So where do we go from here? So Rav Sorotskin, the senior Rav Sorotskin, had mentioned what a great simcha the making a siyum is. There's no simcha like the simcha of finishing a masechta. There's l'chayra a kasha on that. The kasha is asked by the Emek Bracha. I have here a Seif Emek Bracha. And he brings a Gemara in Erechin Daf Yud Aleph. He says, how do we know that you're chayiv to say on Yom Tov Shira? Shira min ha-Torah. And he says, there's a posuk. Tachas shelo yavaretos Hashem leikecha b'simcha v'toiv levav. That it's an aveira not to serve Hashem b'simcha v'toiv levav. Comes the toichacha because of that. Ask the Gemara, Ezo hi avodah she b'simcha v'toiv levav. What is an avodas Hashem that involves simcha and toiv levav? Says the Gemara, Heviyomer zeh shira. Says Rashi. Everybody knows this Rashi. I won't embarrass anybody by telling everybody why. Ein odam sar shira ela mitoiv simcha. Okay, that's what Rashi says. The toiv levav. So asks the Gemara, maybe it doesn't mean shira. Eima divrei Torah, deksiv pekudei Hashem yishar mesamchei leiv. Maybe it's not shira that you're chayiv, but really divrei Torah, because divrei Torah is also simcha. So answers the Gemara Pella. It says, mesamchei leiv ikri, toiv lo yikri. It says simcha v'toiv leivav. Torah is called mesamchei leiv, but it's not called toiv. So the Marsha on the spot asks a kasha. Of course Torah is called toiv. Didn't we just hear Rav Sorotskin say, Ein toiv ela Torah? The Marsha brings lekach toiv nasati lochem Torasi al tazoivu. Torah is called Torah in many places. That's kasha number one. But the Emek Bracha goes so far to say, he asks a vaita kasha, a stronger kasha. He brings a Ramban that says that on Yom Tov, regarding Simchas HaChag, it's mashma from the Gemara that we're chayiv, this shear of Simchas HaChag, how much simcha you chayiv on Yom Tov, has to do with the threshold. The shear is shira. Anything less than shira, you're not yoitza. So he asks a kasha. On Shmini Atzeres on Simchas Torah, why are we mesameach with the Torah? L'chayru mavatal Simchas Yom Tov. Because Simchas Yom Tov you have to have Simcha v'toiv levav. You have to have shira. Simchas HaTorah is only toiv. It's only Simcha, but it's not toiv. So l'chayru we're being mamish mevatel Simchas Yom Tov by dancing with the Torah on Shmini Atzeres on Simchas Torah. We should have to be doing shira and not Simcha of the Torah. He has his teretz. We're going to have another teretz. But boys, everybody knows now's the 3 weeks. It's soon going to be the 9 days. It's a time of tzaros of Klal Yisrael. Besides that, it's a tzar of Klal Yisrael for every year. This year we had tzaros in Klal Yisrael recently. We know that, and it's a very wonderful thing that whenever people have tzaros, you pashpesh b'maisav, people become more frum. But it's also not a good thing that you have to wait until you have tzaros in order to become more frum. The Gemara says in Shabbos Daf Lamed Aleph, the ger came to Hillel and asked Hillel, please teach me Kol HaTorah Kula standing on one foot. Hillel told him that what you wouldn't want done to you, don't do to your chaver. Rashi says over there in Shabbos Daf Lamed Aleph that what Hillel means is that your chaver, your reya, is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Brings a pasuk in Mishlei, Re'echa v'reya achicha al tazoiv. It means that what you wouldn't want done to you, don't do to Hashem. What does it mean? It's very simple. Let's say you would do somebody a favor. You know, there's the guy who never needs parnasa, so you take out a mortgage on your house, you make $250,000, and you give him a matana, not a loan. You say, here's $250,000 cash, just take it out of the goodness of my heart, I love you. I'll pay the mortgage, no problem. It's unbelievable chesed. Anyway, so you're driving down Central Avenue and you come to a parking spot and you're looking for a quarter for the meter and you don't have the quarter. You see this guy who you just gave this $250,000 matana walking down the street. And you say, oh, could you do me a favor? Could you please lend me a quarter for the meter? And he says, no, I have a shita, I don't lend out any money. So the guy's a jerk. The guy's a mamash al lowlife. A kofri toiva she'in kamoihu. And a guy like that, I can't think of anybody lower. Now, what you wouldn't want done to you, don't do to Hashem. Hashem gives us not $250,000. We wake up every morning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us a pair of eyes. How much would you sell your eyes for? Would you sell your eyes for $250,000? Oh no. And Hashem asks one thing. I give you eyes. They color. You don't have to black and white. You don't have to develop the film. You don't have to focus to look from far. You don't have to look focused to look from near. You don't have to adjust it for the light. They're amazing things, eyes. Billions and billions of parts. One thing I ask, just don't look certain places. That's all. That's all. I give you 2 ears. How much would you sell your ears for? Just one thing I ask, don't listen to Lashon Hara. I give you an arm, just put on tefillin. I give you a house, just put on a mezuzah. I give you children, just learn with them. Just bring them up properly. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us so much and asks us back so little. What you wouldn't want done to you, don't do to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Rashi is explaining that Hillel was not explaining all the halachas of the Torah when the ger came to him, but he was really explaining what the motivation for being Mekayim the Torah is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Siva Rishona. He's built in it lebezulasoi. He's the Mukhrach HaMetzias. He gains nothing by any of this. Imagine if we would all wake up when we'd be born when we're 20 years old, with the maturity and the seichel of an adult. We wake up when we're 20 years old. Imagine we're sitting in that little basket, you know, where they put the babies with a wristband on our wrist, and we're 20 years old. And our parents come to us and say, Mazel Tov, you were just born. You're just born into this world. There's a Rebbeinu Shalom. You got to do mitzvahs. And you're looking around and say, wow, this is the world. This is an amazing thing. And it explains to you, this is your eyes, this is your nose, we're your parents, and telling us about the world. And you ask, what are these 2 things sticking out of my shoulders, these things? I said, those are your arms and your hands. They're like tools, you know, like hammers and screwdrivers. They do things. Right? So you say, well, do they come with an instruction manual? Do I have to figure out how they work? Like, how do I get this arm to do things? So your father of the baby says, you just have to will it to do something. You think, do, and it does. So what? Yeah, try it. Take your hand. Hey, it works. Other hand. Amazing. Can you imagine you have a car outside, you think in your car, come to me, it's there. Car, drive here, it drives here, turn this way, it turns that way. Your legs, you want to walk over here, you turn right, it turns right. All you have to do is think. The technology is unbelievable. It's mamish science fiction. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives all of this to us. Imagine the baby is sitting there, he looks at his hands, his fingernails are protecting my hands, protecting my fingertips. It's unbelievable. Who's equipping me with all this? And the parents say, it's Hashem does it. Hashem gave this all to you. So they say, okay, well, what does Hashem want in return? What's the deal here? What does Hashem gain? Hashem gains nothing, he says. It's all chesed. Kid says, are you sure this is not a scam? This sounds much too good to be true. Hashem gives me everything. Well, yes, he does. He asks that you don't look in the wrong places, but you get a mitzvah, Hashem lekechatira, if you don't do that. So you also go to Gan Eden if you pay back Hashem with that little 25 cents from everything he gave you. It's too good to be true. No, Hashem is the Siva Rishona. He gains nothing from anything. Toiv Hashem la'kol etzol chesed. Such a person wakes up out of his crib, out of his little thing over there. Hoidu Hashem ki toiv. His whole life, he's just praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's all he's doing. It's just that we never take it for granted. Now, Unfortunately, that's what Hashem wants. Hashem gives us this in order for us to be able to pay back. What does it say in the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos? One of the biggest lowlifes, the listing of the five Talmidim came back. What are the worst people in the world, the people you should stay away from? One of them says, somebody who borrows from Hashem and doesn't pay back is the biggest lowlife. This is what it means. He borrows from Hashem, he takes stuff from Hashem, and he doesn't give back. Hashem gives you food, all he wants is you should make a bracha. That's it. Once I had a shayla halacha l'mais, it's not so posh. When I was a bacha, I went on a trip in Hazman with another Bacha friend. We went canoeing down the Shenandoah River in West Virginia. We made a great discovery. Aravis, most kosher aravis you ever seen in your life. Arvei Nachal growing straight out of the Shenandoah River. Red stems, beautiful, mamish, untouched by human beings. And we decided that sukkahs, we're going to come back and we're going to cut them down. We're going to make a lot of money. The problem was that we didn't have rishus to cut them down. They belonged to the Parks Department or something. And we called the Parks Department in West Virginia and we asked them if we have permission to cut down these aravis things, and they said, "Please do so. It's a nuisance for us. They block the canoe routes, but you're going to need a permit. Permit costs $10 and takes 3 weeks. Now we didn't have 3 weeks before Sukkot. The shaila is now. They're not makbid. They want them down, but they're not going to give you permission. If we chop down the aravis without the permit, is that called arava gezula? Is the pshat you gone with the aravis because they didn't give you permission, or the pshat is they wanted you to take the aravis, you gone with the permit money, you gone with the $10 and the aravis are kosher, or you gone with that was my shaila. I asked a lot of poskim, wasn't posher, but I had a raya. I told Rabbi Yanka Fisher the raya. He says acher from this Rashi. Rashi says in brachas that if you eat something without a bracha, it says kilu gozel. Says Rashi, what did you steal? It doesn't say you steal the food. Rashi says you steal the bracha. What does Rashi mean? Rashi means Hashem's not makbid on the food. Hashem wants you to have the food. He just says you need a permit. You need the bracha. Hashem says take the food. I want you to have the food. Just you have to have a permit. If you eat the food without the permit, you're gone with the permit, not the food. There's a raya from there. That was my raya from there. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to eat the food. He just wants you to say thank you. That's it. Now, we're supposed to become more from al takaras hatoiv, the things that Hashem gives us. We're supposed to be singing every day. Hoidul Hashem ki toiv. Never. Sometimes we don't. Problem is, we're on this world to become from. So Hashem has an eitzah, how to make us from. There's a mashal, and the Rabbi Yerucham brings the mashal, the Chodesh HaTalmidim brings the mashal, other people bring the mashal. It's a medrash. Medrash says that people think that we daven because we have tzaras. It's not true. It's adarabah. We have tzaras in order to make us daven. Moshe Lamar Davidonis says the medrash. There was a king who was driving down with his entourage down the street, and he hears a maiden in distress, and the lady screams, "Help, king! I'm being robbed!" And the king sends he has the whole security detail of the shomrim. He sends the shomrim after the robbers. Go get them. The shomrim kill all the robbers. The lady is saved, and the lady comes to the king and says, "King, thank you so much. Thank you so much for saving me. What could I do for you?" The king says, "No problem, my loyal subjects. Go home. I'm your king," and everything's good. King goes home, and king decides, "Oh, you know what? I like that woman. I want to make her my queen. I want to bring her home. Send a message to her that she's invited to the royal palace for an interview to become the queen." The lady says, "I'm not interested in being any queens. I don't want to talk to this king. Tell him to leave me alone." King says, "No problem. I know the way colors are, women are. Let me send her roses this time." Sends her roses. She ignores it. Says, "Do me a favor, take it back to the king." King says, "No problem." Sends her a gold ring. Sends her diamonds. However it goes, it's like a shidduch over here. The king knows what he has to do. She sends her diamonds. It doesn't work. Nothing works. So the advisors of the king say, "Let me tell you what to do. We're the advisors, we're the chacham. Here's what you do. Forget about diamonds, forget about roses." She's not listening. Send robbers after her. Send rotzchim after her. And then at the same time, drive your entourage down the street, and you'll see how fast she comes begging to speak to you. The robbers come to the lady, and she screams, "Help, help, I'm being robbed." And the king is like, "Okay, no problem. guys, take care of it. They go, she comes back to the king. She says, oh king, please, thank you so much. Oh, now you're speaking to me, no problem. That's the Moshe. What's the Nimshal? HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends us roses every day. We wake up in the morning, we have 2 eyes. We wake up in the morning, we have 2 hands. We wake up in the morning, we have our children sleeping in the next room. Do we thank Hashem? Do we come more from for that? No, we don't. So Hashem says, no problem. I want this person to daven to me. Daven Baruch Atah Hashem means thank you Hashem. Loosely translated, that's exactly what it means. We recognize you as the source of all bracha. What is the point of telling Hashem what He is? Point is not to tell Hashem what He is. The point is that we are recognizing Him as the source of all bracha. Thank you Hashem. Thank you. We're not doing it. So Hashem says, no problem. We could either do this easy way or we could do this the hard way. I want you to daven to me. I have a good way. Rahman I'll bring you tzoros, and you'll see how fast that you daven. You'll see how fast you make asifas. You'll see how fast you make say tehillim. You'll see how fast you'll have all the foundations and organizations make videos about us, how everybody has to become more from, and Sinaschinim is no good, and Achdus is important also, but only because of the tzoros. Rahman al-Islan, you will see how quickly it happens. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I gave you roses, you didn't answer. I gave you diamonds, you didn't answer. So what in the world do you expect me to do? This is my pshat in the Toichacha. The Toichacha says, Tachas Hashem levadet Hashem b'simcha, v'toiv levav miroiv koil. Everybody asks the kasha, why is it that just because somebody did not serve Hashem b'simcha, such a terrible punishment should happen? Teretz says that's not the pshat. It's not the pshat. I'll tell you what is the pshat. The pshat is that we have simcha. We have roiv koil. We have an opportunity to serve Hashem and to become more from mitoich simcha miroiv koil, right? Besimcha miroiv koil. We don't do it. So Hashem says, no problem. Tachas asher lo yavaret Hashem besimcha miroiv koil. Instead of the fact that you didn't serve Hashem when you had a chance besimcha miroiv koil, now I'm going to send the toichacha. Now you'll see how fast you'll serve Hashem. It's not oinish. Now you see how fast you'll make asifas. Now you see how fast you'll say tehillim. Now you see how fast people will become more from. No problem. Everything was good. Nobody said a word. Everybody took it for granted. Now tzoros, boom, Gans Klal Yisrael has to get together. That's a terrible, terrible thing. There was on Zemaisa with the Satmar Rebbe Zatzal. There was this guy, Octavian Gaga, I think his name was. He was a bad guy, and he came into power in Romania, a big anti-Semite, and it was voted ill for the Jews, and they were goyzer tainus, and there was a certain day they were going to make a tainus and everything. Adahochi vahochi, before the day of the tainus, so the Russians, I think it was, who killed this Gaga guy, and everything was Baruch Hashem fine. So they said, okay, now we can cancel the tainus. Satmar Rebbe said, oh no, you can't do that. You can't be geyser tainus in a day of tshuva because you have tzoros, and then when the tzoros go off, you cancel the day of tshuva. Adarabba. Now you have to make it more strong. Al sakaris atoiv takadish baruch hu tachas asher lo yavaret Hashem b'simcha miroiv koil. You didn't serve Hashem b'simcha miroiv koil. Now you'll serve Hashem out of the toichacha. It's not a punishment. It's Hashem just says, we try to do this easy. It didn't work. Now we're going to do it hard. Nebuch, this thing that happened where this kid was killed, they were giving out these cards with a picture of the nifta that said, do a mitzvah. I told the guys in shul, it's a fine thing, but I have a better thing for you to do. Don't do this. Let me tell you what to do. Instead of taking a picture of the kid that was nifta, take a picture of your own kids. A little wallet-sized picture. Putting your wallet right in the back of the picture. Al Sakaris Hatoiv, I'm going to be better in this and this mitzvah. What do you think is a better motivator? What do you think works better, and what do you think is more that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants? Now, I don't know messages Hashem sent to us. You got to ask somebody bigger than me. People can tell. People can learn from the Torah messages Hashem sent. Don't ask me. I can't even tell you Masechta Shabbos Shakla V'Tayir Bal Peh. You got to ask somebody who knows more than me. But one thing I can tell you, the message that we're telling Hashem. What are we telling Hashem if we only become from when bad things happen? Shemu Shemayim. What is the message? What are we saying to Him? What are we begging Him to do? That's a terrible thing. Now we have to become better. Al Sakaris Hatoiv. That's step number one. Now, From all hakaras hatov, we make a bracha in the morning. Baruch atah Hashem malbish harumen. We thank Hashem for our clothes. We become more frum. Zoikev kfufim. We thank Hashem. We're able to stand up. There's a little gyroscope in our ears. We're able to stand up in the morning. We become more frum. Baruch atah Hashem pakeach ivrim. We thank Hashem for our eyes. All the brachas in the morning, we thank Hashem. We become more frum. But there's one bracha. Two brachas. Actually, it's machlokes if it's one or two brachas that demand more hakaras hatoiv than any of the above. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosov v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. The bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us, the Torah, demands more hakaras hatoiv than anything else, because toiv rega echad in olam hazeh Torah u'masam tovim more than chayei olam haba. From all the good things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for us, the fact that He gave us the Torah is the biggest gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us more than anything in olam hazeh. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the Torah, it's the biggest, hakaras hatoiv is the biggest simcha in the world. There are two simchas involved with Simchas Torah. There's the simcha of the learning Torah, that's fine. And going back to the Emek Bracha, fine, that's simcha. It's simcha, but it doesn't say on that toiv. What does it say toiv? Ki lekach toiv nosati lochem toirasi al tazoivu. It's the fact that Hashem gave us the Torah, and the fact that Hashem allows us to learn the Torah, and the fact that we are grateful to Hashem. It's not the act of learning, that's also simcha, but there's another din simcha, the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows us to make a siyum on a masechta. Do you understand what that is? If we have hakaras hatoiv for HaKadosh Baruch Hu for giving us our eyes, and giving us our ears, and giving us our arms, kal v'chomer ben b'noi shel kal v'chomer, we should have hakaras hatoiv to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the simcha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed us to finish a masechta. Now we got to come back to Hashem, and Hashem, thank you for making me finish this Masechta. Now I will become more frum because Hashem, you made me finish this Masechta. Now I thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now I will become better because of this. That is the epitome of the epitome of the epitome of hakaras hatoiv. Thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because I finished this Masechta, the recognition that that's the biggest gift in the world. One moment of Torah in this world is better than all Chayei Olam Haba, Kal V'chomer better than Chayei Olam Hazeh. And you know why? I have a different teretz to what Rav Sorotskin had a kasha b'shem, was Rav Zelig Ruvain Bengus, that how can we make a siyum at the end of the Masechta? It seems that we're happy we finished. We should make a siyum to be a tayyib shot. I said a Keinza here once. As Reb Chaim Volozhin in Pirkei Avos says in the Mishnah, Havit shoysa bat samo es devreihem. Chaim Volozhin says the pshat is not that you should drink Chazal's words with thirst. He says, but rather, the more words you drink, the thirstier you should get. You drink, and you drink with thirst. The more words you drink, the thirstier you get. Hashem's food is different than the food you buy in ShopRite. The food you buy in ShopRite, the more you eat, the less hungry you get. Eventually it's achila gasa. By Torah, the more Torah you eat, the hungrier you get for Torah. Oyev Torah lo yizbat Torah, the Medrash says. That's hevishoyse bat soma es devreihem. Go learn Torah, and learn Torah with thirst. Now, Ad Kan Reb Chaim Volozhin. Now, you want to know when you say thank you, when you make a siyum. The Gemara in Bracha Staf Lamed Hey wants to bring a raya, wants to learn that Bracha Rishona, the Bracha we make on a food, is a Deiraisa. It's not the maskana, but the Gemara wants to learn it out. Says the Gemara, we know that there's a chiyuv to make a bracha achroina min ha-Torah. If you make a bracha achroina, kal v'chomer, bracha rishona. What's the Gemara's kal v'chomer? Umadoch, you make a bracha when you're full. Kal v'chomer, you make a bracha, you ask Hashem and thank Hashem when you're hungry. So you should make a bracha rishona, you're hungry. That bracha, that kal v'chomer works good by food. But by Torah it works the other way. Yeah, Reb Zelig Ruvain is right. You should make a bracha when you start. You should thank Hashem when you start. You do. The Tefillah Reb Nechuni ben Hakana, right?